Can't complain.
Good to hear. We got Kelly showing up in about 8 minutes, and I haven't been able to get a hold of Roger. He's like MIA. I hope he's okay. Oh no, he's got another. He just got back to me. Okay, so he's got that other client that he's working with that he had to take a call. All right, so okay, so good. Where do you ski? You said you were skiing.
Well, I'm going to Vail in February.
Oh, nice. That doesn't suck too bad. So good. This is January 11th, right? So
Yes.
so I took the site, all the first pages they sent us and put them onto a PowerPoint, and I'm starting to use my iPad to scribble on them and say, like, should, like, for example, the first thing I have is should hero be less high. So it's just that's what I want to try to keep record of, and then have like some kind of central repository for all this stuff, and send them then this PowerPoint with all the scribbles on it.
Well, I think the screenshots that are in Figma, I think you can make comments right there.
I
In Figma.
I couldn't figure out how to get the individual screenshots to show up. So, but I also honestly was playing with my iPad. I wanted to see if I could do it like that. And it's cool. I mean, this is a fun thing. It's just a matter of getting used to a new environment, which is the whole point of what we want to do with the, with the site and the apps, have them all in one kind of environment, one kind of feel. So let's hope we can do it. Okay, so what do you are you feeling good about the competency of these guys?
Yes.
I am too. They seem to be very efficient, and they're working hard on it. So I'm feeling good about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, everything seems to be good. Like I said last week when we talked, I want to start seeing a little bit more of like the back end design, the architecture and stuff like that. But I don't have any reason to suspect that that's not going to be as good as what they've done so far.
Yeah. I'm not really that happy with the logo they're using. I don't like the fact that the UB sort of blends, like they have like a sort of a gradient going from red to blue. I think it's going to be very hard to keep going in on T-shirts and that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think we sort of have to be a little more, straight out. This is that color and this is that color. So I was hoping they would have those three versions that you mentioned last time. And I'd like to bring that. Well, I also asked a friend of mine who does logos. She's out in Hampton Bays, and I asked her to look at the logos. I sent her the ones that we're using and the ones that we have had in the past, and asked her to see if there's a way to update them and make it more, better in general.
Right.
So we'll see, I guess. So those like the first couple things. Now, what's your feeling on the ads? Did you think about that for a while?
In what regard? I mean, I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking much about it.
Okay. As far as which one?
Getting one up above the fold.
Yeah, and how we do that. I mean, there are those really shallow, wide ones that we can use that are basically usually underneath the top banner.
Yeah, I mean, I think where we left it was that, we definitely want something above the fold, but that has to be tempered with, how it would push down the content
Right.
and whether you lose something that was designed above the fold, falls below the fold. Um, of course, the fold position varies depending on your device and your screen size. Like if I'm using a 36-inch monitor, my fold is big, right? So
Well,
that
yeah.
doesn't become an issue. But if I'm right, so it really depends on your device. If I'm using an iPad or a Chromebook versus a 15-inch laptop, that's different too. Um, but we were going to wait for them to come back with some suggestions on the design too.
Yeah.
They were going to give thought to that. So the next time we talk to them on Wednesday, they should have some input on that.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just opening
I don't
Figma
particularly have, sorry, I don't particularly have any strong opinions about the ads. I do know that there are different standard sizes. So you could get, the size that you referenced, those, I think they're 486 by 60 pixels or something, but, they're kind of wide and short, they're
right.
not very tall. So, that might be a way to do it, et cetera. But that's, that kind of decision, we have to decide how we're going to build that into the layout. So if they can come up with some ideas, we can take a look at their ideas, figure out if it works for us or not.
Okay. Um, okay. So I'm on the page now, and I'm trying to get the front page to be full screen. How do I do that?
I don't, hold on, let me
I might have just done
look
it.
it up. I think you should just be able to click on it.
Yeah, I just found. Yeah, there's a right arrow button on the top right. Yeah, I just found that it worked.
I haven't even actually registered or signed up for it. Oh, speaking of registering and signing up, before Kelly comes in, I have something I want to ask you. You
Yes.
must have signed me up for some kind of online expo, like API World or something,
Yeah.
a few weeks back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's be cautious doing that, because I didn't necessarily need to view any of those seminars, but all of a sudden I started getting barraged with every event that they have, like across the country.
Really?
And I tried unsubscribing and opting out, and I ultimately had to call them to tell them to get my email address off of their lists.
That was
So
API
if
World?
there's something, yeah, it was like Dev World or API World or whatever it was, but then it cascaded into just, I was getting like, I don't know, a half dozen or 8 to 10 messages a week about this event and that event. Just, it was horrible.
Sorry
And I
about
kept
that.
unsubscribing and nothing. So if there's stuff that you want me to attend or consider attending,
Uh-huh.
just let me know and I'll look it up and I'll address it and deal
All
with
right.
it that way.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and it was weird because like it was one organization that did these seminars, but there was another organization that was doing the invitations and invitation management. So it was like different things, and it was so convoluted in how to get off and stop getting the emails and stuff for all the other stuff. It really was kind of annoying.
All right,
I was
Westing, I was doing you a favor.
Yeah, I get that, and I did look through that stuff and to see if it was something I needed to deal with or whatever at this point. But that's besides the point. I mean, it was good to know about it, but I'd rather you just communicate that to me and say, hey, check this out, see if this is worthwhile, etc. And then I'll do it that way.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
I like to kind of keep tight control of my email address and not let it float around out there, you know. I have
Yeah.
email addresses that I use for like bullshit stuff, you know, for
Okay.
shopping sites and things like that. So that's kind of why I do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I do the same. I have a Burton Boys URL I use for all my personal stuff. So I get you. All right, consider it done. I won't put you on those things anymore. Is
Did you find
CES
how
going
to
to be live this year?
comment on- Did you find how to comment on the Figma stuff?
No, I haven't. I got it to show up. I'm looking at it. But I'm not seeing how to comment on it. Not at all, actually.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
Hi, Kelly.
How are you, John?
Good, thank you.
How are you, Greg?
Good. We're trying to figure out. We're looking at the Figma page. Figma is like an editing system that allows the developers to build screenshots and wireframes. Okay. Where's that going to show up? Add comment. Yeah, I can do it now. I figured it out. There's when you get it to the right size, I use the width thing. There's a quotation bubble on the left side.
Yeah, see, that's going to be a lot easier for them. And then they're not going to ever have an excuse that they missed something. You know, because if you do markups, whether it's printed or in a PDF or an image or something, and you pass them along, there's just, you're subject to human error. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
they didn't get
This
it.
is nice.
They just missed it or overlooked it or something. Oh, we got treadmill action today again.
Guys, it helps clear the mind.
so see
I
how
think
this
it
works.
looks so nice.
Okay, so that works pretty well.
Yeah, and then if they have specific questions or something about a particular comment, like it's almost like a thread. Like they can put it on your comment like a reply.
That's nice.
So-
So everything's
So it
concise.
does, yeah, and it allows for tracking and it keeps it all in one place.
I like
You know,
that
and the
idea.
developers, yeah, and the developers don't have to like root around for old emails with feedback and,
Good call, John.
well, I didn't design it or suggest it. I mean, this is what the development team uses. But I'm saying it's a good idea to take advantage of that feature because that's important in development. Keep everything in one place and consolidated.
Yeah. Still a little hard to maneuver, but it looks cool. So how do you go to the next one?
I believe that there should be like back and forward arrows.
Yeah, I'm trying to swipe. I'm trying to.
Or close. I can't see the whole thing because Zoom is blocking it. Hold on a second. Up in the top right next to the button that says share prototype and options,
Yeah,
to the right of that, does that make it full screen or
yeah, it makes it full screen.
minimize it?
I made it full screen.
Okay.
Okay, here you go. I scaled down. Now it says 1 of 38 here.
That looks nice. Wow.
Yeah, but there's also a way to go back to the initial screen of all pages, like where it shows you thumbnails of all 40 pages or whatever. Up in the top left, next to the red, yellow, green, there's an icon top line next to the red, yellow, green icons. There's something that looks like a chapter or table of contents. Looks like a book.
This one here?
No, move your mouse up one more. The red, yellow, green dot to the right of that, right there. Does that give
Oh, that's my Safari bookmarker. But that being
okay.
said, what if I
All
just
right.
do this? Hold on a second. Okay, then it would be here.
Okay, move your mouse to the right where it says page 1, UB Sports Web.
Okay,
Is
hold on.
that clickable?
Oh, cool. Okay.
Okay, so I got there the wrong way. I got there from the thing I had open on Friday or Saturday. But this is it.
So Greg, what's the best thing to do here? Should you send us these so that we can make comments, or should we send you our comments? Like how do you want to tackle it?
I think you should just add your comments to this directly.
Yeah, Kelly, do you have Figma? I mean, did we send you the invite to this thing?
I don't think so, but if you can send it to me, I'll download it.
Okay. All right.
I didn't see an invitation for it, so if I missed it, I apologize, but I don't think you sent it to me.
No problem. In fact, I had to just hold on. How do I do that? Okay, I'll do that later.
Yeah, no rush.
Yeah, it's like an
I'll figure it out.
online thing. You don't have to download anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice.
So let me see if maybe I just like send you this. Hold on. Copy. Okay, I just texted it to you.
Awesome. Obviously, what I'm looking at is really small, but I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and it's nice that you can. I can like blow these up just by doing that finger thing.
Oh, okay. I see what you said. You sent it to my cell phone.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Got it. You did earlier today too.
Okay, good. And I can do this. I just expanded it in that one page, and it's very clear. You can see it.
It's very cool.
It is very cool.
I really like how clean it looks.
Yeah, they're doing a very good job as far as that goes.
Well, because I like that there's nice big pictures so that it's not so cluttered looking.
Yeah, that is nice. And it's spread out nicely.
The only thing I'm not loving is the pink that's supposed to be like a dialed down red. Like obviously they did like a lighter blue, which is cool. The pink I'm not loving.
Yeah, it makes it look so like baby boy and baby girl, doesn't it?
It's a little, yeah, I don't like it. So even if it was like a light blue and a darker blue, but I would say that red being pink looks bad.
That's a really good point. So we need some other shades there instead of the red and pink.
Honestly, like scales of blue work really well. So even if it's like a navy blue and a light blue, that would look really clean. That just jumps out as jarring to me.
Okay, good point. So I'll figure out another color for that.
And then the only other thing from a marketing standpoint, I'd say, I think our logo, it needs to be bigger.
You mean the sports part or just the whole thing, UB Sports in general on the page?
UB Sports in general on the page, and maybe it's just that it needs like maybe it needs different spacing, like a wider spacing, because I actually love the height difference. I think looks great. I think it might just need to be a little bit more, a little bit like a touch of spacing between the UB to the S to the P, like in between each letter, I think needs to be spaced out a little. Again, I'm looking at, it looks pretty small on my screen, but
yeah, I would actually make the sports a little bit higher.
Okay, but yeah, I think it needs to be a little bit more prominent.
Yeah,
I'd say like it's not popping to me.
So I'm not also, I was just telling John, I'm not really happy with the way the red and blue fade into each other, because that's gonna be really hard to reproduce on t-shirts and that kind of stuff.
It just also, it's just not clean. You know, like the website is looking so, I mean, this is looking so good. I think that those are like two elements that don't make it look as clean.
Okay, good.
Sorry, is it okay that I'm just giving feedback?
No, of course it'll be better. That's why you're on the call. Okay, anything else you see there, Kelly? Yeah, I'll go down to the bottom.
It's the colors and the logo, and everything else I think looks fabulous. Just that pink is annoying.
I agree.
But I think it would look sick as a light blue and a dark blue.
Okay, cool. And yeah, now, John, could you help us with also the nav line? Is that where they're gonna have the nav line from now on up there?
I would say that I'm loving the font choice for the nav line. I think looks really good. I think that looks great.
I'm not sure what font they're using.
Well, whatever it is, I like it.
I think, yeah, I want to make sure that it's kind of like an accessible font.
Yep, I would ask that question because I think that we would need to, from a marketing perspective, like if this is the font we use, it would just be nice to have it consistent so that when I'm building marketing materials or something like that, I've got it downloaded on my computer if I have to, or it's just an easy one that everybody already has.
Yeah, I mean, once they get past kind of like the designs or whatever, they should be specifying like a style guide, which defines, you know, colors, fonts, and different elements.
I'm a big fan of a style guide.
Yeah, me
and
too.
when they do that, like that style guide should specify that these are the standard fonts that we use on the site and in the mobile apps. And,
yeah,
you know, accessibility is important, and especially as you get into, you know, Paralympics and things like that, where people have disabilities or they have visual issues, you want the fonts to be accessible. So there's 3 specific fonts that I know that are really good for accessibility. I forget what they are offhand, but
meaning, John, that they're like easier to read for people with disabilities.
Yes.
Interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, like there's certain fonts that the way that each character is drawn is distinct enough that someone who has, let's say, visual problems, they can distinguish the letters better in certain fonts. Whereas in other fonts, you know, the letter V and U might look very similar and hard for someone to distinguish.
Interesting.
Very. I always thought it was like Arial, Helvetica, and Calibri.
know I have them written down somewhere. Hang on one second.
Just grabbing my water. I'll be right back.
Yeah. You're pretty smart. Century Gothic. John, I'm saying it's Arial, Calibri, and Century Gothic. It's a slab serif.
Arial what?
Arial,
Yeah,
Calibri,
that sounds.
and then Century
Yeah, that
Gothic.
sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I'm sure this is one of those three.
It looks like an aerial light, which I love.
Yeah, it's very clean, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good look.
And it's sans serif. I hate serifs.
Oh, yeah, we're not doing that.
And then the A is nice on this.
Well, Century Gothic is a serif font. So
Oh, it is? Okay. In fact, it says here 6 must-haves of an ADA compliant website. And
Good job, buddy.
wow, if you blow, you're up for legal charges of up to $150,000. Font. Okay. Among the widely used fonts for accessibility are Arial, Calibri, Century Gothic, and serif fonts like Times New Roman in Georgia, and slab serifs, whatever the hell that is, like Rockwell and Avro.
Arial's on that list, right? This looks like some type of an Arial font.
Yeah, it's number one is Arial.
I think this is in that family, but it's just good for us to know.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely looks good.
Yeah, it's nice and clean. I like how the images are laid out.
I do too. It definitely takes more space than the original site, but I think it's so much cleaner that it's fine.
I think it looks so much better.
Yeah, John had an interesting point about the invites. He was saying that everything should be under messages and there shouldn't be a difference between messages and invitations. That messages, when you open up messages, it should take you to those choices. Friend invites, group invites.
And actual messages.
Event invites and messages. Yeah. Is that right, John? That's where we left off.
yes,
It does consolidate
It's like
everything.
one- you should have one inbox which has everything in it. And you can have filters or tabs. Tabs eventually run out of screen space.
Right.
But if you can filter your inbox and say, just show me, friend requests, or just show me group invites, or show me event invites, or show me parental stuff, then you can kind of filter just for those specific things. But your little icon or indicator next to the message could kind of give you a heads up as to what kind of message it is as well.
Cool.
And also
But
they have
what you
parental
wanna-
up top.
What you want to avoid is I get a notification on my phone about something, some sort of invite or whatever. So later, when I get back to my desk or get home, I check it on my computer and I go to my inbox, but I don't see it. Oh, wait, okay, I have to go over to the invite thing.
Okay,
To see
good
it.
point.
Like all the communication should just all be in one spot.
That sounds so
Notification
easy.
should be one thing and messages should be another thing. And that's that.
So friend, event, group, parental, messages, and I just forgot one. Friend, event.
Say them again.
Invites. Friend, and event, group, parental, and messages.
I think that's everything.
There was something else that John just said that I think was outside of those.
Friend request, group invite, event invite,
Right. Event
and
invites,
parental stuff.
parental stuff, messages. Damn it, and something else. All right. All right. I'll just go back to the recording and listen to what you said. He had another one in there.
Well, there were direct messages. I mean, just anything that's not one of those things is a direct message.
Right. Just be a DM. All right. So, and would you want to drop down or just tabs?
Well, I think if you use a tab design, typically you think of tabs running from left to right across your screen. On a phone, those tabs are going to be pretty small. You're
Yeah.
going to run out of space, especially if we start coming up with more things. So I think having, a little funnel icon and you click it,
Yeah.
and then you get the 5 types with a checkbox. It's not even a drop down, it's a checkbox. So I could check event invites and I could check group invites to see both of those kind of messages simultaneously. You follow? Does that make sense?
I'm thinking, is there a way you can just like scroll the cursor over the inbox and it'll pop down and drop down? Wouldn't that just be a simple thing for JavaScript?
Yeah, but then you check it, but there's no visual indication that you have a filter selected. So
Well,
the
you want
next
the
time you
filter
come
to
into your inbox, you're like, oh, I don't have any parental messages, but that's because it wasn't checked before. So I think if you have the funnel icon, normally the funnel icon will indicate whether you have filters selected or not. It's like it's on or off kind of thing.
Do we have
So
maybe
it's easy.
do we have maybe another website that does it like how you're describing, John, that we might be able to just screenshot and share?
Let's try Slack.
They have it for the calendar in their designs. They have the little funnel icon in the design.
Oh, okay.
So we go to a page that has a calendar on it, you'll see that.
Here's a calendar right here.
Yeah. See the little funnel?
Got it. Okay. Okay. Now I understand what you're saying.
So you click that funnel and you get like a little tiny, it's not really a window, but you get a little pop-up that has the 5 things, like event invites, group invites, friend requests, parental notifications or parental messages, and whatever else you want. And they each have a checkbox next to it. And you would check the box for the types of messages you want to see on your screen at that moment.
Got it.
And since it's not a drop down, it's checkboxes, I can check more than one thing. So I could basically check everything but parental stuff.
Now, do you want that to clean out when you go to a different page so that the funnel then has, you have to recheck all those things? Because
Yeah, I think it's only active while you're on that particular screen.
right. And I would assume that you want the click to the funnel action also. If you're looking at the inbox up top, if you're looking up here and it says inbox someplace, wherever it's going to say it, like up here someplace.
You'd probably have something that says select all or clear all.
Right.
That makes sense.
And it should say inbox. It shouldn't have this. This is the bell is usually for like notifications, right?
Well, I think that's what that is.
Yeah. So if you do a inbox, it really should be a separate one. That would
Yeah,
then
it should look
lead
like
you-
an envelope.
Yep.
Yeah, and just say inbox. An envelope. Okay. All right, so that's a good one. And also, I would, if there's something like a parental thing, if we have the parents portal thing up here, that probably should also notify. If there's something that you have to see as a parent, I'd expect it to show up. You know, have a little circle here too.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's right. Friends updates. You know those. If we need something like that too.
Like what your network's up to?
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the things they do here is they ask you, what are you thinking of? And it's not in this page. It's, where is it?
It's very Facebooky of us.
It is. Member content.
Is it a like what's on your mind kind of thing?
Yeah. And I'd rather have something that says like, you know, you have something to share with us.
Yeah, or like something to share with the UB universe. Like let's start using like some of our language.
Well, the only thing I don't want to do is like, you know, some things aren't for the universe, it's just for your friends.
Well, then say your UB friends.
Yeah.
But I think that that is a little Facebooky, and I think we want to stay away from that.
Okay, so what do you mean? Not to use that?
Well, I would say like make it in our language, so that we're not copying like exactly what's on Facebook.
Okay, so something to share with the your UB friends?
Yeah, like I would start using terms like that, like UB universes, UB friends, UB sports groups, like whatever, however we want to say it. I think that we don't want to say what Facebook says because Facebook's getting pretty lame.
Yeah, they're
And I think that we don't want to, we want to really distinguish ourselves from sounding or looking like them.
right. Yeah, right here it says, what's on your mind?
Yeah, that's like a knockoff of Facebook.
Right.
And I would say we don't want that.
Okay, so that's right on the, as soon as you sign in, you get this. And then also, this is the homepage after sign in, so you don't really need the UB Universe join because you're automatically in the UB Universe whenever you join UB Sports. Don't need, okay.
Right.
Well, I would be cautious if that's a hero that displays to people who are not signed in. You know, I mean, I don't think the hero images that you're going to be rotating in that spot have been defined yet. I mean, it seems like
No.
you guys would define that for those guys, what kind of creative we want and stuff like that. But the one with the join button might really only be intended for people who are not signed in.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. This page is for homepage after sign in.
So you're already signed in.
Yeah, I
You
mean-
shouldn't have a join button.
Right. That's just, dynamic. It's no big deal.
Well, can you zoom in a little bit so I can see that hero image again? See, I think when you're signed in, it's not that you get rid of the join button. I think the whole hero image goes away. Okay, let's keep in mind that space that image is in
Yep.
contains multiple creative imagery,
Right.
whether it's 3 or 5 or 6 or however many. And we talked about having that be dynamic. So if we all of a sudden have a special that we're running for the next week, we can add a 4th one without having to determine which one we're replacing. But, are those hero images the same when you're logged in versus not logged in, an anonymous user?
So the way they have it right now is that here's before you sign in.
That
That's
makes
the
sense.
homepage.
These guys might be using that one image as the placeholder in the designs.
Yeah,
Remember,
exactly.
That's my
Okay.
question though.
I'd
Like-
assume so, but
So at some point, we as a team have to come up with, okay, what are these images that we're going to have
Right.
there, and what copy is going to be written for the various images?
Yep.
And perhaps the hero image, when you upload it into the back end, through the content management system, you say, here's my new hero image. This is when it should start being displayed. This is when it stops being displayed. Maybe it should have an indicator that says, this is for anonymous users only. This is for members only, and both.
That makes
Right?
sense.
Because if you're selling sneakers, you might want everybody to see, even if they're not a member.
Right.
Okay,
The
so
join, the one that's in these mock-ups that they're using with this, I guess, soccer player and the join button, that would only be visible to people who are not logged in.
Agreed.
let's say we can.
So let's not get caught up in. So I just wanted to make sure, especially for you, Greg, because you're saying, well, it shouldn't have the join button. But I think the higher level question is that image even the right image if you're logged in? Because it all talks about joining. So just if you got rid of the join button, the text in there doesn't make sense. You've already joined, you know what you're involved in. So anyway, that's the idea. Now, the second point I want to make is that at some point, we as a team have to start saying, okay, well, what images are we going to give the development team to put in there?
Yeah, we need a dashboard, I think, for the hero images, for that
Well,
that piece.
that should be part of the content management system. But I think even besides that, somebody needs to start looking, because at some point the developers are going to say, okay, what hero images do you want? What text do you want in there? What are you marketing? So we need, ideally you'd have a copywriter develop copy, a designer pick some imagery that matches the copy, and then kind of what the call to action is for that particular hero image. Now,
Exactly.
sometimes
It's
they
not
may
going
not
to be
have
a
a
join
call
or
to
a link.
action.
So should we just, Greg, for the time being, is that something that you and I can work on? Like,
Yeah,
we'll
I
just
think
need it-
we have to figure out a dashboard that we have to ask the developers to put in for that hero image, so that we have, like, it might be a total of between 3 and 6 different choices or scrolling images that have a photo and then text, and then what that button's going to be. Is it going to be a join, or is it going to be a link to a Shopify page for some piece of equipment? We probably should have.
Well, Greg, normally the text is part of the image. It's usually not text that overlays an image. It's usually one piece of creative, like an ad.
Well, that's okay. That's fine, but we still need to have a dashboard that allows us to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that should be, I would imagine that that's part of their CMS plan now is, for that to be able to be
Well,
handled by a site admin.
so
Right.
it sounds like that's a good question for us to ask them, is how does that happen?
And then if there's some dynamic button that instead of join, maybe it says go here or go to this page, or some other action as opposed to just join, because you're not going to join a tennis racket. You're going to go to it. So I might just say go instead of join.
Greg, I think let's set aside the dashboard piece of it, because that has to be part of the dashboard. And Kelly, to bring you up to speed a little bit too, like all those labels in the nav where it says My World, UB Sports Live, Parental Portal, Wellness Portal, etc. Like the words that are displayed on your screen are all customizable through the CMS.
Got it.
So if we wanted to say My UB World, or my athletic world, whatever term we want, that's all customizable. So all of that stuff is part of this content management system backend, the CMS.
Got it.
Is what you'll hear me calling it. Okay. So the hero image will be part of that, where you'll go somewhere in the CMS and you'll have controls where you can manage the hero images. Now, ideally, you would be able to upload an infinite number of hero images. That becomes impractical, of course. So you'd set some limit on it. I don't think you would limit it to 3. You'd potentially want it to be 6, 8, 12, something like that. So let's set aside the CMS piece of the hero images. When the hero images are created, it's one image. The button that says join, the text in it that says the UB universe and all that other text, that's all built into the image. So the text is not separate. Okay. So that makes the dashboard, the CMS part of it, simple, because all you're doing is uploading the image.
Right.
And you're saying, here's the start date, here's the end date, and here's who it's accessible or visible to. Members, anonymous, or everyone. Okay.
So as far as the button goes, that join button really is just coming from a toolbox. We just slam it into the hero, into the image.
Whoever makes that, whoever creates the artwork, puts the text in there, puts the join button in there.
Yeah.
So they put everything into the image except those 3 dots. The 3 dots are part of the system.
Right.
Okay.
Understood.
So now, more importantly, Greg, is if we're launching in March and we start in mid-March and we start testing at the beginning of March or the end of February, we're like 4 to 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be thinking of let's say we start with 3 hero images. What are the 3 hero images that we're going to use? What is it that we're going to promote with those images right now?
Uh-huh.
Because somebody needs to select the images that we want to use and give them to the developers. Someone needs to write the copy that goes with that image and the word that would show up on the button, like buy now or join or whatever it's going to be. So that's a process that, like, I think if we
just said, let's do this right now, we're not going to do it in one day.
No way. Yeah, you're right.
Start thinking about it.
Right. So we need to start thinking about the hero images from the perspective of what are we marketing here?
Number
What
one,
are we
yes.
going
And
to
number,
start putting in there?
and number two, we have to think about this scheduling. If it's going to be, let's say, March 25th, what's going on then that we need to have up there?
So I think that with that being said, and I think this is what I was trying to say earlier, I'm happy to, until we hire a copywriter, I'm a pretty good writer. Greg, why don't you and I and anyone else on the team that you think would be pertinent set up a separate meeting to start to tackle that project?
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to kind of be my world, right? Marketing. And at least for now, I mean, I certainly can BS some pretty good content, and I'm certainly good at visual images and picking things. So I think that that's a separate team. You and I and whoever else you think might be helpful should come up with a content calendar for that, because it's going to be spring. I think we're going to be promoting spring sports, tennis, lacrosse, that kind of stuff. But I think to John's point, it's a separate conversation, but it's something that we should get the wheels turning on.
Yes.
Because the developers, and like, if the developers come back to us in 2 weeks or 4 weeks and say, okay, where's your hero images?
Yeah, we want to be ready.
Now they can create the images, but we need to give them the artwork we've selected.
Yep.
And the copy that we've selected.
Got it.
They can create them, but we need that. We need to understand what that is.
So, Greg, let's put
Also-
a pin in this, because I think that if it's Monday today, let's try and maybe get an hour to even just start to tackle a plan by like maybe Thursday or Friday of this week.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
The other thing, Kelly, too, is a good majority of my experience is in marketing and advertising. So although I'm not a copywriter on my own, I've been exposed to some of the best industry copywriters.
Cool.
So if you want me to review copy and things of that nature, I'd be happy to participate. I can't write it. I mean, I could, but that's not my bag.
I mean, look,
But I'd be happy.
It looks like this is the team right now, right? It's the three of us. So it sounds like we're all pretty savvy at like, I can safely say, John, I know nothing about this tech stuff. So I'm so grateful that you can kind of guide us through these conversations, because that's certainly not my specialty. But I think that, you know, maybe Greg and I tackle the initial content calendar, if you will, of what this is going to look like. And then I'd love to loop you in. I have no problem writing it. And then if you guys want to edit it and send feedback, that seems like a good workflow.
Yeah, I mean, so I'd be willing to participate there, you know.
Thanks. I think that's awesome.
Cool, John. Thanks.
Okay, the other comment I have about the hero, Greg, is if we're going to push them to have more than 3, I think that those 3 dots should be at the bottom.
I was thinking the same thing.
Totally. Especially because like those 3 dots work on this one specific image, but I think on some images, they're going to be disruptive. And typically the dots are centered on the bottom.
Correct.
Or right justified on the bottom.
No, I think centers makes more sense.
I think that's what people are visually used to seeing. Sorry, I'm just going to go check on the little man.
Well, if you centered them, Greg, it could potentially be a conflict with our desire to minimize the height.
Yeah, and also, you know, we're stepping out on our own. We're trying to make our own culture, so we can actually put it wherever we want and not worry about that, right? And make it.
You can have it like, if you look at that image now, and you say we're going to reduce some of the vertical height. Okay, you have some space at the bottom and the space at the top that you can crop out. Okay, and if you have those buttons, those dots centered,
just adding a problem there.
You're adding height to the image. But if you right justify them, okay, where you have like the title that says UB Universe or the join button, typically you're always going to have a button of some sort at the bottom, which is going to give you space to the right. So those 3 dots could be on the same horizontal plane as the join button,
Okay, so that'll be instead of,
justified to the right.
so I'm gonna say right justified.
Yeah.
All right.
And that gives us the ability to minimize the vertical height of that image without those dots adding additional vertical height to it.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Now, was someone on our team like does someone on our team have like web design experience? Like besides me?
Not design experience.
I mean, I have, I've done this with the shop sites at like NHL and MLB. I was part of the design team, but I didn't actually execute it. Like I was giving my feedback and saying like, this is kind of like what we're doing now. Like, this is visually what it should look like, X, Y, Z, but I didn't actually you farmed it out to an actual designer to execute our ideas.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because I thought someone on our team did have some practical experience doing that, and it would be good to loop them in because like the type of feedback I gave about the 3 dots right now, like that's something a designer would say, hey, we could do this, we could, here's our options.
There's a guy that I've been thinking about talking to about helping us out with that kind of stuff. So I can ask him.
And those guys are typically freelance. So, I mean, we can literally give them a scope and project and pay them by the hour or pay them by the project.
Okay. So let me talk to this guy that I've been thinking about talking to and see what he says. See if he fits.
Yeah. Cause those guys are usually freelance.
Okay. Let me talk to this guy. Okay, now there are things coming up. Right around March is the beginning, and through April is the beginning of the America's Cup.
Yep.
So that could be one of the things we talk about.
Masters.
Also, the Masters, right?
And I'm trying to think of beginning of baseball season. Are those guys going on regular schedule? I can't even remember. It's also usually mid-April is the start of, and again, it's going to be a weird year, so I'd have to check the calendar. But typically mid-April is the beginning of both the NBA and the NHL playoffs.
NHL is just kicking off this week, I think.
Yeah, but I think they're doing a shortened schedule.
Yeah. Well, I've got a friend who knows a lot about the NHL. I can find out from them.
I think it's online. I can look. Sorry, little man.
Okay.
Here, we're going to look up the NHL. Hey.
Schedule. Stanley Cup playoffs. It was all from last year.
All right, so they're still through April. All right, so that's not a priority because they're going to be, it sounds like they're going through May is still the regular season. So scratch that.
Okay.
But I do think, I think the Masters is a big deal, especially if we're launching end of March. I think the Masters is a big deal. I like the America's Cup. So what's going on in the tennis world then?
That's what I was thinking. There's
Hold on. Let's look at Oh, you know what else? When are they doing the Olympics?
June, July.
All right, so we got a little bit of time, and then Wimbledon is until June either.
Okay, the Qatar total open is it's women's WTA. That's March 1st to 7th. Indian Wells is to be determined. Miami Open, March 22nd. Monte Carlo Masters, April 10th to 18th. Madrid Open, 30th, April 30th to May 9th. So nothing really is happening big. Until French Open's May 23rd to June 6th. Wimbledon is June 28th to July 11th. So we got some time on our hands for that one.
Wait, double check the beginning of baseball season. Because that's usually the first week of April.
Yeah, let's go there to MLB.com. Spring training, 227. And April 1st is the schedule.
All right, so that's the same.
Yeah. Blue Jays, Yankees, Twins, Brewers, Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, Rockies, Cardinals, Reds, and the Rays and the Marlins. Then a bunch of TBDs after that. Everything's actually TBD after that, almost. Okay, so that's definitely going to be live April 1st. That's good. We'll have to, this is one of the things I want our ambassadors to do. We do need a calendar that's essential calendar for all sports.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say the national championships and the world championships for now, and then we can drill down. But that's the important one that we need to, and that should be like all sports. We should have, the volleyball and the badminton and all the rest of them in one place. And then you should be able to go to the calendar and say, I'm only interested in my sports. That's what this event thing should do. It should be all sports in my area, or only my sports that I'm interested in, plus other sports with a drop down. And then those in my area. And also the ones that I'm going to be actually participating in if I'm going to be doing that. I like this Facebook feed thing here. Make sure we could do that also for the Twitter and Instagram. Instagram's more photos. I don't really know anymore how we're going to do that with Instagram.
Well, it's also videos now. They do a lot of video content.
Yeah. Well, that too. What I'd like to do is see that what's on your mind thing actually automatically get posted to, this part here, get posted to your feeds. So I should have, add to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter feeds. So that happens automatically out to their timelines. I think we bored John to sleep.
I'm here.
Okay, so Kelly, let's go through what we think is going to be important. I'll go through as many sports as I can to figure out what's going on at that time.
Yeah, I think we should circle back later this week and start to just get an understanding of, like, let's build out that calendar. And then from that, the workflow that kind of comes out of it is the images and the text, to John's point, that match that calendar. So I think step 1 is figuring out the calendar. Step 2 is cobbling together the images. Step 3 is taking a stab at the copyright. But to John's point, we just need to be prepared that when the developers are like, all right, let's go, we've already tackled that. They're not waiting on us.
Okay, let's say we care about from March 15th on, because that's when we're going to be live. So we can start concentrating on what events for what sports at that time.
Perfect. Everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it might not even make sense. Like the calendar is one thing, but like building out whatever promotions you're going to put into the hero images, you know, if there's an event like between March 15th and March 30th, we're going to still be at the point where we're trying to get people to sign up. A lot of people aren't going to necessarily be able to see and act on that right away. So I would focus on things that maybe are a week or 2 after that, not anything that's right there on that first day. Like if there's some event like March 20th.
That's where I think we
March
are looking
20th.
more at April.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You want to just say April 1st and just take it from there?
Yep.
Sierra
I agree.
Trouble. Okay. And that'll give some time to promote whatever those events are anyway. Okay. All right, that's that one. Now, this is profiles. You know, in my view, this is going to be a 4 or 5 page process. Well, this is a good start. Now, John, where do you see this popping up? This page.
Well, I mean, should we be getting, like, for these people, should they be prompted? Like, should they be getting a notification that prompts them to complete their profile?
Yeah, absolutely. If they don't do it automatically, they should be, the first time they sign in, they should be immediately prompted to fill in certain parts of their profile we really need them to fill out.
Yeah, because I think from a marketing perspective, we need that. And I think that, like, the next couple times they log in, if they haven't done it, I think we have to figure out a way to prompt them.
well, remember the onboarding process is when I go to sign up, I give you my email and a password. I will receive an email from the system that I have to click to verify my email. And at that point, I get a screen that has mandatory profile fields. And until you fill those out, you can't sign in.
So you're going to get your
And those were
email.
like first name.
They send you an email.
That was first name. Yeah, Greg, remember I wrote this all up in that onboarding.
Right,
document.
that's in that onboarding thing.
So
Okay.
but the fields that are mandatory are first name, last name, your country, your date of birth, your zip or postal code, I think.
Yeah, it does have it there in there.
And then those were mandatory. And then there was like 2 optional fields, which was what's your, favorite sport or activity, and what's your role in that activity? Like, are you a coach or a player or whatever?
Did
But
you say, was email mandatory?
Well, you have to give the email to sign up. That's
Okay.
your username.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that's one that we need.
So you'll get that screen and you have to fill those out. So if you click the link in the email to verify your email address and you don't fill that stuff out, and you try to come back to the site and sign in, it's always going to give you that page that says you have to fill these things out.
Okay,
You know,
so
your date of birth is important, so we know if you're a child or not. You know,
Right.
that happens on that first screen.
Yeah, so you can't even log into the site and do anything as a logged in member until you've gone through giving us those mandatory pieces of data. So if you come to the profile page to complete your profile, certain things are already going to be filled in. The
Right.
mandatory stuff that we've already collected is going to be filled in. They may be able to change it at that point if they want, but they can't get rid of it.
And they can't change the DOB, because that's one of the things that, you know, that they say is that the first thing your kid's going to put down is their own, and they're not going to really think about fudging the system. So DOB should sort of be locked
Well,
in.
I would say that if the date of birth of a child, like if that's your concern, then if someone's underage and they change their date of birth, it should go to the parent for approval.
But they haven't put in a parent yet. They might say, okay, I'm over 18 when they're really 13.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, but Greg, look, if first off, you're going to have some people are going to make typos. I'm going to go
Yeah.
to put in February 17th, but I'm going to type 18th. Well, I'm going to want to fix it.
Yeah.
And if you say I can't fix my date of birth, who's the customer support person that they can call that's going to be able to fix it for them?
Right.
That's number one. Okay. Number two is, you know, I do this not as much anymore, but in the very early years of the internet, I was skeptical of giving my real date of birth to people.
Yeah.
And there's certain sites that I'm skeptical. So I might always say January 1st of some year.
Sure.
And then if I realize that this is a valuable site and they need my date of birth, I'm going to want to go change it.
Okay.
So my question, I understand, I think what your concern is that a child comes in, they don't realize that they're locked out of certain things. So now they're going to fake that date of birth. You know, a really savvy underage person is going to put a fake birth date in there anyway.
Sure.
Right. You can't control that.
Where's
You know,
the
so
service?
to lock that doesn't mean anything. It just creates problems for the user and a bad experience. So if the date of birth is such that they are under 18 and they go to change it, there should be a parental approval before it gets changed.
What about a username? What if somebody wants to be in as Greg B instead of Greg Burton?
Well, there's a couple different things you could mean by username. Like when you log in, you could have
Right.
a username instead of an email address.
Yeah.
But I think you want to stick with the email address as your login credential. It gets complicated when you start having usernames because they of course have to be unique and whatnot. You know, if someone changes their email address in the future after joining, that new email address, once verified, is going to be their new login credential.
Right.
Which is appropriate. Okay. The other thing that you could mean by username is a display name.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
So
that mean?
if
Yeah.
it's like, what does my name show up as when I post things? Is it going to show up as Greg Burton or Greg B? If you start allowing usernames, now you have to have a moderator for usernames, because I might put in that, you know, Michael Jordan sucks
Yeah.
is my username. Okay, so I don't, you know, usernames are weird. That potentially could be a preference where you have a display name for when you post content. That also raises another question, as when a minor posts something and the parent approves it, Like, are we displaying minors' full names?
I don't think that's legal even.
Well, the parent has to approve a posting by a minor, so they
Right.
would know that it's being posted with the name or whatnot.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
But the issues, like, I don't think you want a username for logging in. I think it
No, I
just
don't
be
think
the
so either.
email address.
That's unnecessary. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you start using display names throughout the site, you have to consider, like, you don't want somebody to put in a username that says, Michael Jordan sucks or something.
Right.
You don't want it to devolve into that kind of a forum. You've seen these places where you see nicknames on social media sites and other sites for Amazon reviews. So I think when we display someone's name, in some cases it's valuable to put the full name. If it's one of our ambassadors or a celebrity athlete or something, you want their full name for the recognition and the eyeballs it captures. But for a regular person, like when I post stuff, do I really want it going out as John Daniels? And I that's a decision that we have to make. But when you make that kind of decision, it's going to affect everyone.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we're going to say no on that. On usernames, on display names.
Well, I think for now it has to be no.
We'll be able to add that afterwards.
You could potentially add a display name as a feature of a profile later.
Okay.
And then everywhere that a name is displayed, if I have chosen to create a separate display name, it will display that first.
Okay.
If I have not selected a display name, it would use my full name.
Right.
Or maybe my first name and initial.
Right.
But so that's something that can be done in a later phase. But I think there's some questions that we would really need to dive into to make that decision. So that's not something I think we can do right now.
Okay. So that's fine. Okay. So on the down here it says I'm interested in, this should be a drop down or a grid, or what? How do you see this? I see it more of a drop down for the sport, and then we list the sport. So archery, it pops up on the grid, and then you have your choice of those 5 choices we had: athlete, parent, coach, pro, and there's another one that we forgot. Is that how you see it?
Fan, like I think we said fan or enthusiast.
That's right, fan.
Yeah, I mean there were 11 things, and I think in most of your for most members you're only going to see 8 or 9 of them. But
Right.
there were actually like 11 different things, as I recall.
Yeah. I think we had to peel that down because there just wasn't enough room, and I think we came down to your role different from what your position is. Or something that we knocked it down to just those 5 or 6 things. So I think it was pro, player, coach,
Parent.
right, parent,
And then fan. And you can check multiple of those things, right? Like, do you have to just do?
Yes.
That's the idea.
Okay, good.
That's why it has to be a grid.
Well, you can have a multiple select drop-down box.
Uh-huh.
which is what they told us they were planning to do. So it's a
So-
drop down, but I can pick more than one thing out of the drop down.
Okay, so you do that, but there has to then be some back to a grid that shows, yeah, I'm an archer and these are my positions, my roles in the sport.
Well, this page is where you're completing or updating your profile.
Right.
There may be another page where you view your profile.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You can actually see what you've selected.
Right. That would be right. Okay. You're right. That would be.
I don't know that as I go and pick things in this page here, that it just all of a sudden pops up between the bio box and the I'm interested in box or something and starts showing you what you've picked.
No, it should be
I
like
don't
a
think
grid and then like that edit thing on the right side so you can edit and change it.
Yes.
All right. And then this is my world. This is what I'm theoretically caring about. This, I think, has to be more developed.
Yeah, I don't like the look of this.
And this should have all those things on the main page, but specific to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be where my friends updates pops up and
Like leading stories, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
This to me looks cluttered.
probably because some of those hero images too.
Yep. Yeah, this to me looks really cluttered.
I'm going to have to bounce out in about 10 minutes, folks.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
shocked he's hanging in here.
All right, so let's do this. Let's I'm gonna find out how to get you connected into this, Kelly.
Okay, great.
Did you try clicking that thing that I sent you, the link?
Yeah, the problem is it's just on my phone. So can you send it to my email?
Oh, okay. You don't have your
Obviously, like on my phone, it's going to be small, and I think on my email, on my computer, it'd be better.
yeah, no problem. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, and then I'd love to take a look
Yeah.
at it. And then I think that we need to kind of get together later this week for the content side of things.
Okay.
Greg, what you should do, Greg, is send her an invite to the UB Sports Figma group that you created.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
There's nothing in it because we aren't, well, I think Greg has a couple of presentations, or maybe they were put there by Figma, like how you do certain functions in the site, how you use the site. But then, Kelly, once you get that invite, create an account. It's just email and a password.
Cool.
When you do that, you'll see that there's basically nothing in it. You know, it's like a blank site for you to use. But then, Greg, send her also a link to the page that you're going to do in her email. And Kelly, when you start viewing a link to these pages, like that project, like all these pages are considered part of one project in Figma. So once you view something in that project, it shows up in like your recently viewed list of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so it will kind of maintain a library of what you viewed and things. That way you don't have to necessarily hang on to a particular link or whatever. You just log into Figma and you'll be able to see the stuff.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, John. That's so helpful.
Yeah, I mean, there might be other tricks and things. I've never used it before last week or whatever. So, you know, I'm still kind of learning, but that's what I found is when I signed up, it'll remember like the different projects that you've been given access to and viewed.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Cool. All right, guys, let's break here. And Kelly, I already have the email about to be sent out to you, so
Thanks, Greg.
you'll see it, and we can take it from there.
Well, I thought this was very productive and a lot of fun. So I appreciate
We have a meeting at 9 or 9:30 on Wednesday with the iLeaf guys.
Okay, keep me posted.
So, I will. All right, thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. See you, team.
Thanks, see ya.